Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. We're going to get going now. So today's topic is the SEO's power combo, so building brand and topical authority. So we're excited to be diving into the topics. We're going to share some real life anecdotes, some never before seen data, and plenty of expertise from our two panelists here today. So first up, I'm Adele. I'll be your host today. I am Director of Product Marketing for Similarweb. Welcome to all of our Similarweb customers and users. Great to see you here. If you are not a Similarweb customer or user, we are a digital intelligence platform that gives you data on your own website, your competitor's website, your market, your industry, basically everything. So go and tap on the free trial button on the website and check it out for yourself after the webinar. And alongside me at Similarweb is Daryl.
Hi. That's me.
Yes, it's more of a prompt for you to change the
Right.
yes, there we go. So here we go. We've got Daryl, who is the SEO content manager here at Similarweb. Daryl was the ex-content lead at Rank Ranger. He is an SEO obsessive, or maybe self-professed SEO geek. He has analysed more Google patents than I'm sure is healthy for anyone ever in the world. And he's shared some great content on LinkedIn. So if you don't follow him already, please do. Daryl, great to have you here today. And next up, we have Michał from Surfer. He is head of innovation and the co-founder of Surfer, which is a really brilliant content platform. Michał and I met at Brighton SEO. Michal's given talks there. He's a really great public speaker. So Michał, would you like to say hi and quickly let everyone know also what Surfer does in case they're not users of Surfer?
Hello. Thank you for having me. It's a really big pleasure. And to those of you who don't know what Surfer is basically a SEO content optimization platform that will let you ideate, write, and maintain your content optimized for the search engines.
Super smart platform. Okay, so if we skip one slide to the agenda, we're going to cover what's on the tin. So brand first SEO with Daryl, topical authority with Michał, and then we're going to have time for a Q&A at the end. So this section should take about 30 minutes, then we'll do 15 minutes Q&A. There is a Q&A box, so if you type in questions in there as we go, I'll take note and then pick a few to put to our panelists at the end. Today's session is recorded. We send it to you after the webinar has finished, along with a free report on the two topics as well. So Daryl, before we hand over to you to go brand first SEO, I want to put a question to the two of you. Is everyone and their dog is doing webinars on AI and LLMs? We are doing one on brand first SEO and topical authority. Why have we chosen those two to start 2025 off?
Who's going to start?
I'll jump in, but
go for it.
Okay. So there's no question that LLMs is going to become big soon, but LLMs are searching the web now, and they are, they have the ability to do retrieval just like a search engine. So there's going to be pretty much, how's it going to find you? How's it going to find your brand? How do you know that your brand is going to come up in the LLM? So we have to work on those semantic SEO topics. We have to build our strength up, our brand strength, and our topical authority. So this is the perfect time to work on this.
Yep. I would add to that basically the thing that where do they learn from? They learn from content that we produce, and the more topical authority we have, the more trust our brand has, the bigger chances that the LLMs will learn from our resource, not from the others. So first we need to have this foundation, and then we can play with the LLM webinars and going the hype story.
Michał, we'll get you back when we do that. So yeah, look forward to that one. So Daryl, if you want to kick off with brand first SEO, I'm seeing so much more about SEOs working in brand at the moment and the synergy between the two things. So I'm super excited to see what you've got for us here.
Thank you, thank you. So brand has become like a very exciting topic at the moment. We're all of a sudden talking about it. So brand first SEO. So let's, I titled this Generating SEO-Led Business Growth in Record Time. Now we'll see exactly why. Let's begin. So first up, let's talk strategically. So we all know the basic strategy of SEO. I'm sure we all know this already, but let's just speak it out, is that we have people searching the web, trying to solve their problems. And there's going to be a segment of the web that has, you know, they have credit cards, they want to pay. And our job is to show up in front of those people while they're making those searches, looking for answers to their questions. In other words, the main strategy is being discovered. It's all about discovery. Brand is really coming from a completely different angle. And as a result, the tactics and strategy is going to be different. Brand is much more about introducing your brand to your audience. And as a result, when they're looking to solve their problem, they're going to look for you. So it's really coming from the opposite side. And yeah, there is an element of discovery, but you just have to show up. That's really the main thing. So we'll see exactly some of the tactics in a minute. So first up, I want to talk a little bit about me because, you know, why not? So how I discovered brand SEO and the power of it. And we'll see there's some nice lessons here. So who remembers 2020, right? We were all stuck at home. We were screaming at each other, wearing masks and all the rest of it. It felt like the world was falling apart, you know. So what was I doing? So I got a job working at Rank Ranger. You know, pretty cool. So I had the job of the marketing. And my plan was on the SEO front, obviously, to look for those evergreen topics and rank for them in the traditional way. But I noticed something interesting. I noticed that most of our leads were coming from brand. So I thought, okay, cool. You know, let's take a look at the user journey. So fire up Google and type in Rank Ranger, and this is what I see. I'm like, oh God, no, this is awful. The New York Rangers right at the top of the Rank Ranger SERP, you know. So how does something like this happen? So Google is a semantic search engine, and I understand probably what's happening is there's a very strong entity called Rangers or New York Rangers, and rank could be score, you know, because it's maybe a synonym. So score Rangers, perfect. And then, you know, scroll down, and we see Rank Ranger, and back then we had Twitter boxes and all kinds of cool stuff. And then if you scroll to page 2, there's a dead body. Go on to page 2, there's a dead body, right? So really is, folks. And apparently this dead body died breakdancing. But so there we were. Yeah, we're sandwiched between the New York Rangers and the dead body. So what on earth are we going to do here? So I started to work on this. I thought, okay, I'm going to have to work on this. It took me about 3 weeks. I worked and worked and worked for 3 weeks on the SEO, strengthening our entity. And about 3 weeks, I started to see it disappear. And it disappeared, it came back. And I hadn't reported it yet. And I get this ominous email from our boss saying, you know, look into this. And I'm like, oh no, you know, what's happened here? So I click on the email, take a look. He said, I don't know what just happened, but we're getting tons and tons of leads, way more than usual, and the quality is way higher. So think about this, you know, think about this. There was an instant boost in metrics that actually matter to the business. In other words, we're talking not traffic, because what's the value of traffic? Traffic is only valuable if it brings you conversions. So this took me 3 weeks to do. Now think about it. If you work on your brand and it takes you 3 weeks, how long does it take in SEO for you know, to work on your informational strategy? Yeah, you're going to start writing blog posts and you'll get a little bit of traffic and it trickles. At what point does that trickle down to your conversions? So this in a span of 3 weeks, which is in SEO like instant, that was, you know, amazing. So that's when I noticed brand, and it became pretty cool. And I decided brand is very, very important. Now we're going to geek out a little bit on branded metrics, okay? Because we all like to geek out because we're SEOs. So last year, Santa Claus came early for the SEO world. And we got the Google leak.
Bringing 2 updates, right?
Yeah. Besides for that. So we got the Google leak. And yeah, it was the most fun anyone's ever had. We were talking about the leak nonstop. There were memes. It didn't stop, right? So naturally, I was curious. So I looked at the leak and I wanted to know, do we have brand queries and brand metrics? So I found 3: brand query factor, brand trust, and brand engagement metrics. Now, it's not super clear what these are, but what intrigued me was brand query factor. There's trust, engagement. I guess we can imagine it's about engagement, not so hard. But what's brand query? Now, it's a very strange metric, yeah? Normally, we look at clicks, we look at traffic, but query, what is that? Very strange metric. So luckily, I discovered a patent that was written in 2012, and it talks about branded queries. And this was the patent that talked about links and how link is an authority metric and all the rest of it. And in the same patent, no one noticed this because everyone was so busy discovering links, and the whole industry formed, link builders. But nobody noticed it also mentioned that branded navigational terms, so people Googling your brand is considered like implied links. So it's an authority factor in an implied, similar to links. So we're seeing this as the Google leak is mentioning brand query, and we're also seeing it in the patent. So I believe that it's talking about the same thing. That's my theory. Now, it's different to links, obviously, because links are a vote of confidence from a website. This is much more something about real-world users. Okay, it's about real-world users, and those users looking for your brand. So here's old Rand Fishkin. He was talking about this a lot, and you'll notice in this quote, the small and quote's covered up on my lovely face here. Just hold on 1 second. For most small and medium businesses, newer creators, etc., SEO is likely to show poor results until you've established credibility, navigational demand. Now, navigational demand is exactly this point. It's talking about the patents. It's talking about what we're seeing in the Google leak, and a strong reputation. So we're talking brand. It's very Rand is talking about brand. Okay, super important. Now, this is the obvious question. As an SEO, because we're search engine optimizers, we're seeing this is important to SEO. Can you influence branded terms? And the answer is no, you can't. Okay. Everyone go home. But the truth is, you actually can. Okay. So being a Similarwebber, I've been looking at the platform a lot for the last 3 years. I'm working at Similarweb. I noticed something very, very interesting. My favorite report is the channels report. Now, if you look at any website, you can see all the marketing channels, and you can see where all the traffic is coming from. So you can see direct traffic, email, referrals. I noticed something that's very, very consistent. You see it all the time, is whenever you see, look at these 2 graphs. The one on the left is Ray-Ban, the other one on the right is Hermes.com. What do you see? Doesn't it look ominously, those 2 lines are ominously similar? There's always almost always a correlation between paid traffic and organic. So the red line is paid, and the light blue line is organic. You see in both cases, and I can show you hundreds of examples of this. Notice my theory is obvious. It's the obvious theory, really, is that people are seeing the ads and then they're Googling the brand. So here you see, obviously, these are both strong brands. So Ray-Ban is getting 78% of all its traffic from brand. So it makes sense, right? So Hermes at 75. So I believe the more advertising, the more media you got out there, the more you're going to see branded keywords and branded traffic, and this is that metric that we were talking about.
I
Another
would add
example.
to that. Can I break in?
You broke in. Go
Can
ahead.
be even better if you ran ads on a different platforms, say TikTok or Instagram or LinkedIn. So they will have to go to Google to search for your brand. They will definitely not type the whole URL. They will type the company name. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's
like
a
that.
great point. So here's an example of just that. So I have a coworker that worked at Monday. So I thought, okay, let's take a look at Monday.com. So I took a look, and who has not seen a Monday.com YouTube video? Yeah, those ads, they
They're
they
fun.
follow you around. Good fun, right? So here we're seeing the ads on the left. This is all from Similarweb. They're getting a mad amount of direct traffic. That's the dark blue line at the top. And on the bottom left, you're seeing the top publishers, YouTube, 74%. So we're getting tons and tons and tons and tons of YouTube hits. So the question is, has Google taken notice of all this direct traffic? Because don't forget, direct traffic is also a brand term. Yeah, when people Google your brand name, or they type, they go for direct traffic, it's also a brand. So has Google taken notice? Now try this little experiment. Okay, so I typed in Tuesday. Okay, and what do we see? The definition of Tuesday. We see a little teddy bear on the right with a knowledge panel, all this stuff, And, people also ask, Wikipedia, nice, beautiful, okay, Tuesday. Then type in Monday. All I see is Monday.com, and I see, ads, bidding on Monday.com. So you see, to Google, it's no longer day of the week. This amount of branded traffic, I believe it strengthened the entity so much that Google now sees Monday as a brand. Now, let's do a little experiment. It's a little bit different today. I took this screenshot a while back, but let's look at Jaguar. So there's just been Jaguar's just put out a big advertising campaign, so this has changed. But back in the day, not long ago, hey, you typed in Jaguar and you see results for Jaguar Land Rover and Jaguar the animal. So Google can get confused when it's looking at an entity, and it'll present both. And I believe that's what was happening back in 2020 with Rank Ranger. So you see, there's no two results in Monday. Monday is become a brand. Jaguar is a brand and an animal. So you see that building out your advertising and being omnichannel, that's really where you can affect this. And this will affect your Google results. It affects everything. So here we are, the sum up here. I'm saying that you've got your YouTube ads, PPC, social media ads, everything that Michał just mentioned. That's the way as you can affect. And this has become, so what's interesting is that Google is kind of pushing our hand to become omnichannel. It's no longer so simple as, okay, we're going to just run SEO and everything's fine. It's pushing us to be omnichannel. So you as an SEO, let's say, you working in a big company, you can show up now much more as a strategic partner and say, look, we need to be omnichannel here. This is going to affect our SEO. You can make these suggestions. You don't always have to just think about your rankings. You can show up strategically and say, this is going to be part of SEO moving forwards. Or if you're working at an agency, maybe you can think about, paid ads together with your SEO. So that's the basic point. There's a lot more to say, but that is me. Over to you, Michał.
I must say something. I can't resist. What would you say if I proposed running ads that not link to your website, but link to Google with a predefined search for your brand? That I mean, a bit shady, but I'm
It
wondering
sounds shady.
if it would work as increasing the branded searches. Um,
We've got a lot
Well,
of people watching this webinar, so if one person goes ahead and tries that, we'd love to hear from you afterwards how that went. I love that idea, Michał.
in the meantime, I will take over the screen,
oh yeah, you got
and
it there.
we can kick off with the topical authority. I called it behind the scenes because I will explain you how we calculate that. So, first, how topical authority is part of EEAT. In general, these first two E's are related to the content itself, but authority is part of the domain. Like, are you the best place to source information about SEO? If so, then Google will treat you as authority in a niche. So, Do you cover all the questions about SEO? Then it means you have topical authority in SEO. And basically, this A stands for being that most recognizable source of information about your niche. This is how topical authority is part of this. And why topical authority and brand are close friends. So we got EAT, and trust stands for the brand, stand for the brand searches, stand for general perception of, is it real business or another scam website? And the trust is basically next to authority. It's result of authority, and both of these combined will bring you success in search rankings. And how does Surfer measure topical authority? So there are basically 3 steps, because you can't, first, we have to assess that. You can't say topical authority without the context. There's always a niche that you can excel in. It can be digital marketing, it can be landscaping, it can be, I don't know, cheesecake recipes. So, first step to figure out topical authority is to figure out the whole niche. So, what are all the topics to be covered about the cheesecake recipes, all the different cheesecake recipes, cheesecake types that create the topical map? Okay, and then you have to analyze the whole landscape, like what are the competitors that are ranking for these cheesecake recipes, for the digital marketing related questions. How do they contribute to the map? How do they rank for these keywords, and how they perform? So the higher you are, the more topics you cover. Now we already have 2 parts of the topical authority, but the third part is the consistency. So you are like YouTube ranking for tutorials of for every recipe of every type of food, and in the meantime of playing video games and fixing your car and everything. So you have literally zero consistency as YouTube. Or you are like these ladies blog that she's only baking cheesecakes, so she's laser focused on the cheesecakes, which means she has crazy high consistency with her content. So we've got 3 parts: mapping the whole situation, looking at the competitors, and analyzing the consistency. These 3 turn into topical authority measurement. And why it has to be niche specific? Well, like I said, it helps you outrank the multi-topic monstrous domains if you are consistent on the topic. So you can be a small website about cheesecakes and outrank huge YouTube because you are really focused and you gained topical authority in the cheesecakes world. I don't know why I chose the cheesecake recipe, but well, let's have it. So first, maybe a bit too scientific chart. What do we see? I know it's a bit complex, but it shows the connection between average rankings, position, and how big you are and how consistent you are. So the bubble size is consistency, low, medium, high, and the colors are how big the domain is overall. And as you can see, no matter whether you are small, big, large domain, the more consistent you are, the higher your average position is. And this analysis is based on over 800 domains, and it clearly showed the correlation. You are consistent, then you rank higher on average for all of your keywords that you have. And the second one is about ranking of your top 3 positions in Google, and we really have the same situation. Obviously, this purple one that ranks the best in the top 3, obviously they are large domains, but also they are the most consistent among large domains. So okay, you can be a large domain, not being consistent, you will rank for some in the top 3. But if you are large and consistent, you will definitely land more top 3 keywords. How to translate it into easier to understand connections? If we are expert on the cheesecakes and we start writing on baking something else or doing spaghetti or pasta, whatever, we will lose the consistency. The more far away from baking cheesecakes we get, the lower consistency is. So it shows how important it is to grow your website in a direction so it's not losing the focus on the main topic that brings you business. Period. Okay, I'm not trying to push anything else. So what these charts show, that topical authority is good for everyone. So you are a large website, you are consistent, you are better. You are a small website, you are consistent, you are better. You are a crazy big website, you are consistent, your average positions will be higher. So it's not like only if you are small or only if you are big it will help you. It will help everyone. And quickly on building the topical authority for your website, it starts with selecting the niche. So saying SEO might be a bit too big. Maybe we should niche down to off-page SEO, on-page SEO, technical SEO, PR, link building, or some other areas. But in general, it's the best to start as niche as possible to get this laser focus in the area that we want to boost our presence. Then we create the topical map. That's actually a screenshot from Surfer, but you can build the topical map in any other tool. In general, is about trying to map out as many topics related to the core of the service, of the offer, of the topic that you want to focus on, map them all and try to cover as many of those as possible. And the next step is obviously create content according to the gaps, because, well, I can imagine that not everybody is starting from scratch. You got your websites, you got your areas of interest. It's January, so you probably got the new plans to take over niche X by the end of the quarter or by the end of the half a year. So find out that that goal and create a topical map around it, and then close as many gaps as possible, which will bring you the topical authority. And obviously then optimize these pages so they rank higher. Don't just write content, write the content that Google wants you to write. So you include the entities, you make sure that obviously the content is helpful and stuff, but there are a lot of mathematics in on-page SEO, which is definitely a good idea to match them. Google will be looking for some specific terms when you are writing about where to stay in Buenos Aires, and you don't want to find them out on your own. There are many tools to help you figure out what are the entities associated with staying in Buenos Aires or the cheesecake. And this is basically the result that you want to see. And it's not only the content marketing efforts, I would say it's also brand efforts, as we as Surfer are getting confused with Surfer, the surfing magazine from Australia. So there's always this confusion in the Google search results. But just like the general traffic grows for the website, that's the last 16 months, the branded traffic grows as well. because customers have these navigational queries, like instead of typing app.surfaceo.com, they just type surfer in Google and then click the result to log in to the application. And actually, that's the last slide. But before I finish, I will show you something that actually shows how the topical authority score can be measured. So I prepared 3 topical maps. One is for the link building. Surfer is a content optimization platform, so a bit far away. And our topical authority score here is not not that high. It's only 25. We do not cover all the link building topics. For those that we do, we rank some. However, most of the topics we cover are about SEO, so the coherence is high. When we look at SEO content, the topical authority score is so much higher, it's 37, because we cover more, we rank higher, and we are just as coherent as before. And you will see that these analysis in the ebook, I think, in these materials after. But in general, what you have to understand is that the topical authority scores correlate like crazy with overall rankings in your niche. So it's really a good idea to well, increase the topical authority scores daily of your website. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Michal. That was great. Some really amazing, insightful data. I love your bubble graphs. I know you said they're quite intense, but I think that they're so fascinating to see how brands can grow when they really focus on a niche and how much more traffic and ranking they can get back. Actually, we had one question that was really relevant just to finish your section off is, I don't know if you have data on this or it's a bit more anecdotal, but what role does content diversification play in building topical authority? So, i.e., like blogs, videos, podcasts, like really mixing up topic types. Does that have an impact?
I would say it depends on the intent of these queries that are targeted by the different types of content. So sometimes you will show up more likely as a video, sometimes more likely as a listicle. But the number one hack I have for taking over more real estate of the SERP is to create multiple assets of the same target keyword. So say we want to rank for how to write SEO article, and we can create on our YouTube channel, we can create a video that explains how to do it. We can create a blog, how to do it. We can create a service page, how to do it. And we can also create a LinkedIn article on how to do it. And if we are lucky and optimized and strong brand, we can show up on these multiple assets in the same top 10 search results, taking over 40% of the top 10, which will increase chances landing a client so much higher.
Yeah, it's positive cannibalization.
Yeah,
Right.
if it's different domains, then obviously you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's great about that also, just to jump in here, is that you have different audience segments, and people learn differently in different ways. So the SERPs themselves are actually diversified, probably for that reason. So you're going to have, like, on your informational, you'll always have your YouTube results because you have that whole segment of people. So if you're just blogging, you're going to miss out on that whole segment.
Oh snap. And in today's world, actually, here we could talk about the AI. If you have a blog of 300, 500 articles, what's better than turning them into video scripts and then even using these voice things to actually repurpose these blogs into video content that some people prefer to watch instead of read. And basically, with just a simple scaling up your content production, you could just have them. I mean, the quality will be not as good as you were yourself in the studio, but if you can have it within a day or two, then maybe it's worth taking a risk.
Absolutely agree. I've got a question here, which I fear may end up with the classic SEO answer of it depends, but someone's written in to say that in their niche, they build content around several topics. So how many topics should they prioritize to maximize impact and focus?
Are they related to each other? That will be the follow-up question.
Mm.
Because if it's television ads, then newspaper ads, and then Google ads, then they may be spread too thin. But if it's on-page SEO, off-page SEO, and technical SEO, they are related strongly.
Yeah, I think we have to look at it as topics and subtopics within the the taxonomy of the knowledge graph as as topics.
Yeah. Yeah, good answer.
But
Okay, we've got quite a lot of questions around being able to grow brand through advertising on different channels. So we've got people asking, has anyone tested if one platform is better than the other of attracting searches? Michał, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head by if you do it off Google, you attract the Google users because people use Google as a navigational tool now.
Yep.
They don't type in the exact web address of where they want to go. So your brand increases automatically. But anecdotally, Daryl, Michał, have you heard anything about better channels?
I haven't actually looked into like the specific channels, but I would think we could like take our optimization hat off for a bit and think from an audience perspective and rather go for where the audience wants, So if you have an audience that likes video, and it's appropriate, then rather focus where it's appropriate rather than think of it like as, we're moving a metric or a needle. Rather think of it as who is your audience and what do they want? What kind of content do they want to do? That's what I would suggest. So I
Yep.
don't know if I'm directly answering, but that's how I would answer it.
And if you don't know where they are, you can always test. So you got 10 grand, just split it 1,000 each platform, and it will tell you something. If they are more on Instagram or more on TikTok or more in Google. Well, yeah.
Well, you could always
test it out.
also use a competitive research tool. That's another
Oh,
option.
Well,
Actually,
Daryl, you showed the example of paid search increasing organic and increasing direct, but we do look at the same, you toggled them off, but if people put advertising behind social, we've seen a big trend in that in the past 2 years. Or if you advertise on social, you get the boost of direct traffic, which then gives you the boost of organic traffic. So it's all interlinked. And Daryl, I think you said it right, that SEOs may not be able to be the ones putting that budget on, but they can influence. They can say, look, if you do this, it results in this. It makes my job better. So it makes our traffic, we get more free traffic down the line. So that's how SEOs can influence. Okay. Any suggestions on how to deal with competitors that are optimizing for your brand? I presume that's probably paid and organic.
well, I would say you have to be there and pay your dollar, just for sake of not getting robbed. It'll be too cheap for them to brand bid on you if you do not compete for the price of the real estate. And when it comes to organic, it's quite often visible when they create, let's say, alternative pages like your brand alternative or your brand versus the other brand. And actually, the only thing that comes to my mind is basically doing the same and outranking them, because like you cannot, I mean, maybe there are some legal actions you can take, but it will take ages, and the outcomes are not certain. So maybe
It's
you got
actually an
something
interesting.
better.
It's an interesting point you point out because those terms aren't actually they're not branded navigational terms. Those like let's say brand alternatives, but it will be next to impossible, I would assume, to optimize for your brand. It's very difficult, and even if they're running ads, I've experienced this, where you can run ads cheap because you own the authority of your website, and Google recognizes that. So your ads you'll have the most relevant
Yeah, the
landing
best
page.
ratio will be there, right? Because
Yeah,
if they
yeah.
search for surfer and then they land on surfer website, they are happy. And the competitors bidding for surfer and people being like, why is it not surfer website? They will leave and create this score, negative score that will increase the price over time, right?
Yeah. So I recently actually looked into this. Just, I was curious about this, and I don't see big traffic going to competitors. If you are bidding on a big competitor and you're a small player, then it might be worth your while. But it's, I don't see like massive traffic going for that exact reason,
But we have seen quite a big, actually, the trend's always been there, but it has increased more as the paid search market has got more competitive recently on competitor bidding on terms. So at Similarweb, we released the equivalent to a rank tracker, but for paid ads. So it's ads tracker, and you can put in your own branded terms and get alerted whenever a competitor bids. And then you can really like Michal, you said, you could try and do something legal that usually doesn't work unless you've got a trademark brand, or you can outbid them. And that's the way that you get your branded traffic back, or you can let them do it and just hope that they're a worse competitor than you and the audience will end up on your site.
That will be too risky, I think.
Well, you can also track the clicks. We can see where the people are clicking, which is kind of cool. So you can just, look up in Similarweb and see
Yeah,
if people
see
are
if it's worth
literally,
it, right? If it's worth to beat. If nobody's clicking, then okay.
yeah.
Okay, we've got a couple more questions here. Would building a YouTube channel improve topical authority in Google, seeing as Google owns YouTube?
Totally, 100%. And when you are verified on YouTube, you can also add links to your pages in the video description. So if you have a YouTube video about how to create SEO content, and you have an article how to create SEO content, you can link between each other, and basically Google likes other places from also in the same environment. Like Google likes Google assets, basically.
It's also interesting because Google will crawl social media as well, in terms of building up a brand entity. So even if it's not a Google asset, it'll look at your LinkedIn.
Yes.
It crawls everything. So yeah, I would say, no matter where you are on the web, you're going to gain something if you do it right. And one of the most important things is to be consistent in your brand message. What you have on your let's say your profile should be very similar, if not the same, as what you have on your About Us page, and that can be for any platform.
Absolutely. Okay, right. We are closing up very shortly. We've got 2 minutes left. So I want to end up with just a quick bit of advice from you guys. So Michal, topical authority, if people want to start looking at this, what's the one thing that they could go and do tomorrow to get them on their way to doing this the right way?
First, find the goal and find the niche. That will be the number one step. You are selling SEO services, find the one service you want to push, and then build topical authority first around that service that brings you the biggest margin.
Great. And Daryl, same question to you, but with brand.
Okay, so besides for what we've discussed in terms of advertising, I would say two things because of the short time. I got loads to say here, but one thing you can do is you can look in your Search Console account or use the Site Explorer and look at all your branded terms. And you'll notice that not all of them are navigational. They're not all going to your website. So you can see things like returns, brand alternatives, anything like that. And there's a lot you can do here because you can tell based on the demand what people are interested in or pain points they have about your brand, and you can address those things. You can also create content to rank in these terms. I mean, I once saw a brand that actually was getting the vast majority of traffic for its own, people are looking for reviews, and this company had so many reviews on its site, it was ranking at the top of its reviews and it was getting, I think, 70% of all the clicks.
This is great. You know what it tells me? It's basically topical authority, but for the brand. Like all the aspects of your brand. If you're e-commerce, you can take care of many aspects. If you are SaaS, you can take care of many. Yeah, this is great. Great tip, Daryl. Seriously, like it.
And that
Thanks.
came full circle of integrating brand and Topical together. So, Daryl, Michal, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with everyone today. It was an absolute pleasure to do this webinar with you. Everyone's still here. We'll be sending the recording and a follow-up report, which has some really juicy data and insights in. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you for having me.